Right, options taken then, AJ. Tell me where you want to talk about from this. So we've got Christian Walton, we've got Axel Tuanzebe, we've got Big Cam, and we've got Idris El-Mazouni. What do you want to talk about in that regard?
I will take Christian Walton. I think that's an interesting one because I think there was a feeling that this was likely to happen in terms of them triggering the option. It's been a very, very tough 12 months for him in terms of essentially going not really by his own fault at all, but he's just ended up having to go from this hero to zero situation where 12 months ago we were talking about him stepping up and being one of the best goalkeepers in the Championship, given what he'd been able to do at League One, interest from the Premier League. I think Luton was sniffing around at that point. And then it all just went wrong when he picked up that plantar fascia injury, which was a really significant blow. And it also then didn't help that the backup goalkeeper who came in, who had hardly played any football at that point in years since first came in and had that little run and then got taken out of the firing line, turned out to then be the goalkeeper that ended up taking to the Championship like water and becoming one of the best shot stoppers, 14 clean sheets. So he's not in a position where he's going to necessarily want to stick around and be a backup goalkeeper because he's going to know his worth. So it'll be interesting to see now what happens this summer. The Premier League's obviously an interesting one where he'll have clauses in his contract and things like that where there will be that appeal. But I think it's quite clear that he's going to want to play regular football, and that'll be fair enough. So I think the option has been triggered knowing that he probably will end up moving on this summer, which, again, 12 months ago probably felt unthinkable. But it's just how things have played out for him, and it's a bit of a shame in that way. But definitely the goalkeeper department is going to be an interesting one for Ipswich, as we'll touch on, and it's just been a really unfortunate one for him, and we'll have to see if there are going to be clubs looking to take him on, given that he hasn't played regular football in over a year now.
Yeah, Rossi, we might as well move. I mean, Christian Walton and Hladky obviously come as a pair, really. So we know that Hladky is in talks / contract offered. Do you think there's any kind of sense of being slightly concerned that's not been done yet? You wonder if there's any kind of discussion behind the scenes about whether or not he's going to remain number one, and if he doesn't stay, then you'd look at Christian Walton and say, well, maybe he can. Not too long ago, he was on the verge of starting in the Premier League, if not starting. So, what do you reckon?
So I've just got pins and needles, so I'm just trying to get that out. Yeah, it's an interesting one because he's just kept the amount of clean sheets. He's just been promoted, and there's no. You want those deals sort of done early in a way, but obviously they go on holiday. I'm sure he's got interest. I'm sure there is some fans going, "What's happening? What's happening?" Obviously, they're in talks. They were in talks back in January, wasn't there? Remember that?
Yeah, he said. I think when he was linked to Celtic, wasn't it? Back in January, there was it kind of came out. They were talking then.
Yeah. So I'm not saying I'm panicking right now, but maybe a few more weeks. You're like when we're getting closer and closer to pre-season, he's technically out of contract. Is he out of contract? Basically, he is definitely out of contract, and he's not got an option or anything, has he? He is like by the 30th of June, he's not a Town player anymore.
I believe so.
So you'd think if that's not happened by then, you're like, oh. So we'll watch this space, but that's interesting. When I think it's only going to be Christian Walton and Kieran Slicker who are going to be the only keepers, but hopefully Vaz stays.
What do you reckon to this, Stewie? Because it seems like it's a bit of an interesting talking point.
Sorry. I was looking up Ross's point about whether there's an option there. I've got a question mark on my spreadsheet, so I think there was no mention of an option year when that was announced. I would imagine that goalkeeper is a position unlike no other because only one of them can play, and so I would say assurances over your chances of being the starting keeper probably overtake sort of financial side of things when you're weighing up whether to move or stay. That said, they'll have had promotion, and this is true of all players. There'll have been promotion increased clauses when they went up from League One to the Championship, and likewise from the Championship to the Premier League. And it's all very well saying, someone like Christian Walton will leave because he wants to play. as Ross sort of touched upon there, he's suddenly got a sort of a Premier League wage that might sort of soften the blow of staying, sort of thing. And Ipswich have then got a way up. For example, if Vaz does sign, which I hope he does, because I think his style of play with the ball at feet is quite well suited to modern Premier League football. Ipswich, even if Christian isn't particularly enamoured with sticking around, Ipswich can say, look, stay with us for one more year, because it's hard to then go and convince a number 2 to come and sign. Come and sign for us and sit on our bench is a difficult sell as well. So it's all very much up in the air with both of them at the moment. But ultimately, it could end up with the 2 of them still being in place. I still think that's a possibility, but my gut feeling is that hopefully Vaz signs and Christian might sort of push for a move elsewhere. And we're seeing Ipswich linked to Cole Rushworth at Brighton in the last few days as well. So certainly a situation to sort out